Hello my dear students, welcome back to my channel. Today in this video we are going to learn class 9 English lesson Mauritius question and answers. We are going to learn part 2, that is second main of the question answers which is given in your textbook. Part 1 is already done in my earlier video, and if you want the revision of it, I'll put the link of the explanation of this lesson and part 1 question answers video links in the description box. You can go there and you can have a look on it. So let's move on to the part 2, that is second main of question answers given in your textbook. But before that, students, if you are viewing my video for the first time, to subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get the notifications of my latest upcoming videos. Do watch the video till end, and if you like it, do hit the like button and share among your friends. Okay, students, let's move towards our question answers. So it's C2 in your textbook, the main which is given as discuss the answers for the following questions and then present your answers before the other groups. So the first question here is, why was it difficult for the author to locate Mauritius in his atlas? We have learned the chapter and we come to know that it was very difficult for author when he was finding the location of Mauritius in his atlas. So what was the problem? Why was he finding difficult? So let's see the answer. The atlas which the author had was very old and contained many little dots and specks. These dots were the results of cockroaches and also due to the weather, but it had nothing to do with the geography. Thus, it was difficult for the author to locate Mauritius in his atlas. Students, here we come to know that the author the atlas which the author was using here was very old, and it had many little dots and tiny spots and holes in his atlas. Why were these dots and specks here? Because it was a very old one and many cockroaches were passed through that atlas, and that was the result of the cockroaches. But what they had done, that it had many tiny holes and the dirties and the dots were found. And also due to the weather, because for too long if you keep some books, because of the changing of the weather also it affects the pages, it turns yellow, it tears off, sometimes it becomes very delicate it becomes. So that was the condition of his atlas, but it had nothing to do with the geography. The location was where it never moved. So this specks and dots did not had anything to do with geography. So the condition of his atlas was very poor because of this dots and specks made by the cockroaches and the weather. Thus, he was finding it difficult to locate Mauritius in his atlas. So in simple words, the answer is given here on your screen. You can see this. Okay. So let's move on to the second question. What is the reason for the people of different countries to settle in Mauritius? When we go to the chapter, students, we come to know that the author was saying us that how the people from the different origin, from the different countries had settled in Mauritius. So what was the reason? How did they come and settle there? So yes, we'll write the answer. Even that too is there in the textbook. When we read the chapter, we come to know that many of them were brought to the island as slaves, and they were working as laborers in the sugarcane fields or factories. Few were also cutting timber in the jungles. The wealthy people had settled for spices and sugar or just for strategic position on the island. These were the reason for the people of different countries to be settled in Mauritius. So yes, students, when we go to the chapter, we come to know that there were many people who were bought as slaves from the other countries, and they were made to work as laborers there in the farms, in the sugarcane fields, in the factories, and some were also working and cutting the timbers in the jungles. These were continued from their ancestral periods, from their father and great grandfather. They were bought and they were just being put up there, and they were doing the same work. So few people were found because of this reason, and the other people like Dutch, French, and the English, who were wealthy, who were ruling class, they had settled there for the spices and the sugar which was available and which had good production in that island. And they also wanted to have a strategic position on the island, important position. They wanted to rule there, so that's the reason that they wanted to stay back there. So this is how we find the people of different countries being settled here. Few were bought as slaves, few had come by their own will for the trade purpose and for having their stronghold and position on the island. So in this way, you can write your answer in a simple manner, simple words. Okay, students, let's move on to the third question. How does the author explain the absence of protocol among the government officials and ministers in Mauritius? So here author says that there was absence of protocol, means uh, the official, the formal and the unique way of behaving, the rule, the different rule of the government officials and ministers. Why it was absent? Why did not they had some special class or special behavior? So what does the author explains? So let's see the answer. As the author found, the cabinet ministers and others in big position do not act as if they were born to the grace. They were all just like ordinary people. They were unassuming, accessible, communicative, and without protective shield of hangers on and security meant to repel casual approaches. Thus, author explains the absence of protocol among the government officials and ministers in Mauritius. Okay, students, so in simple, we can understand that the question is that they did not behave as a VIP persons. They all were very normal, even the government officials and the other ministers. So author says that because he found the cabinet ministers and other people who are on big position, they did not act as if they were different or they were born to grace, they were born to enjoy the higher class. No, it was not found at all. It was totally absent. They all behaved like ordinary people. They just mingled up and mixed up with everyone. They were unassuming, they were accessible, means they were always freely accessible. Anybody could go and talk to them, can meet them. They did not have to take any appointments or any long procedure was there to meet these people, these ministers, these official peoples. They were very communicative and they walked on the streets without any protective shield, no security men, no weapons with them, nothing. They were just normal and they had to repel by themselves if anything happens. First of all, it did not happen anything. It was very casual approach. They used to approach as if a normal people who, as they talk and they move and they mix up with everyone. So this was found there among the ministers and the officials, government officials. This author explains that there was totally absence of protocol among the government officials and ministers in Mauritius. There was no difference between the government officials and the ministers and the normal common citizens who was residing there. So this is how you can write the answer. Okay. So next question. Give the description of mountains as given by the author. Author describes about the appearance of the mountains. So we have to describe how has it done in the lesson. So here goes the answer. The Blue Mountains ring the island, a volcanic happening of geological ages. These mountains do not have the traditional monotonous pyramidal shapes. The outlines are freakish, whimsical with unexpected sweeps and have perpendicular drops and pinpointed peaks. So how does the author explains here that he saw the blue mountains which ring the island, means it was surrounded the island, and it was due to the volcanic happening, the volcanic eruption which happened there due to the geological uh, features, and throughout the ages it was occurring there. And these mountains, they are not having the monotonous pyramidal shape as we just make V point shapes mountains. So it was not like that, no monotonous, no same type of or the shape of mountains were found there. They were all unique, freakish is unique, whimsical, very simple and very unique and special kind of shapes and sizes of mountains were found, which were unexpected sweeps and have perpendicular drops and pinpointed peaks. They were flat also, and they were pinpointed also. They were perpendicular drops type of mountains. So I have brought some images for you to understand it more properly. So these were the mountains, this kind of mountains were found in Mauritius. So you can write in this way as your answer. Okay, let's go on to the next question. How are the people of Mauritius described fighting against the cruel jaws of nature? So we learn and we come across that here people are fighting against the cruel jaws of nature. What is that cruel jaws? What is happening to the people there? The nature at times becomes very cruel. So how are the people fighting and facing all these things? So let's see the answer. Mauritius is prone to cyclonic storms and it is an annual feature. Big ones occur once in 15 years and leave a trail of destruction. People are used to cyclones and have learned to live them. King cyclone had struck Mauritius on February 6, 1975, leaving vast area flattened. The island has recovered from the devastation. Trees are planted in congested areas, tall buildings came up, plate glass picture windows are fixed, and rooftops are put up with an eye on elegance. So this is what the answer. Now let us understand it. See here, when we learn, we come to know that Mauritius is prone to cyclonic storms. Every now and then, Mauritius is hit by a cyclonic storm, and it is an annual feature. Like every year it occurs, but a big one occurs once in 15 years, and it brings a massive destruction, a very big and a huge destruction. So people here, they have become used to it because they know every now and then there are small and big storms coming there, but once in 15 years there's a big storm and it's a big destruction, and they have learned how to live along with the cyclones. So this king cyclone, when it had struck last time in the Mauritius, it was on February 6, 1975, from when the chapter is written, you can say. So when in this year when it was hit, it left the area devastated. It had flattened everything. Everything which was standing on the ground was flattened, was broken, was mixed up with the ground. And the island has recovered from the devastation as the time passed. When the few years and months passed away, again the island recovered. Again we could see the trees which were planted in the congested areas where there were no space. The trees were planted and it was like very densely planted. Then tall buildings again came up, they were rebuilt. Plate glass picture windows were fixed, all glass windows were fixed upon, and the rooftops were put up with an eye on elegance. Means very beautiful and simple way of rooftops were again put up, and everything was again rebuilt, and it was back to its life again. So this is how you can write the answer, students. You can see on your screens. Then next question. What would be the future of Mauritius as opined by the author? So we come across the lesson and we come to know this. The author is trying to think and give his opinion about the future of Mauritius. After having a journey, after having a visit to Mauritius, he is having an opinion about future of Mauritius. So what is it? So let's see the answer. The government is eager to have foreign entrepreneurs to start their industries here in Mauritius. With industrial growth, the living space will shrink, cars and trucks will increase, the roads will have to be widened to take the load, the price of the land will go up, cost of living, pollution, unemployment, slums, taxation will increase, the author opined. So the author's opinion, whatever author has observed and he came to know, he says that government is very eager. It's very curious to call and invite the foreign businessmen, the industrial person, the entrepreneurs to come there and start their industries in Mauritius. So if this happens, no doubt there will be an industrial growth, but the living space, the the space for the residential purposes will be shrinked, will be lessened, will be shortened, and you could see more of vehicles and cars and trucks on the roads. It will increase, and that will lead to the broadening and the widening of the roads. For moving of free moving of vehicles, you need to widen the roads, and to take the loads and all, you need to widen the road. So this all will be done, and the prices of the land will go up. There will be a great demand of the land there. Then the cost of living, the standard of living, the pollution, the unemployment, slums, and the taxation, everything is going to increase, which will have an adverse effect on the island. So this was the opinion of the author when he came to know about the detail of Mauritius when he himself visited there. So according to the opinion of the author, this is the future of Mauritius. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. This is suite 3 main of your textbook, which has only one question, and the question is: compare and contrast the arriving and departing experiences of the author during his flight. Does it suggest anything to you? So we see here that the author has shared his arriving and departing experiences of going to Mauritius during his flight. What are the scenes, and what does he experiences there? So let us see what's the answer. So the author experiences on his arriving journey to Mauritius was very exciting. He was curious to see the sight below the flying aircraft, the blush grey steel sheet like ocean, acres and acres of cloud, in between the appearance of shapes of land structures resembling the legendary historical structures of ancient countries. So here, while his way to journey to Mauritius, he was very exciting, he was very curious, and he was seeing all the sight which was being visible from the flight below the flying aircraft. He could see the blush gray steel sheet like ocean. He could see the ocean over there. He could see the acres and acres of cloud which was just below his flight, and there in between he could see the different shapes of land structures, which was reminding him of many historical structures of ancient countries. So this was his experience while arriving to Mauritius, whereas during his return flight, let us see. During his return flight, the author could not see those scenes as it was dark, but he could imagine the future Mauritius in a changed situation. Industrialization with wider roads, tall buildings, pollution, unemployment, slums, etc. So while his return journey, he could not see any of the scenes because it was dark, it was night time at the time, and he could just imagine what would be the future of Mauritius as he had visited there. He had many information he had gathered from the people and from the government officials. So he was just thinking about the future of the Mauritius, how it would be changed, how it is now and how it will be in future. So he was just imagining if industrialization comes there and the roads will be widened, and there will be tall buildings, there will be pollution, there will be unemployment and whatnot. So all these things were running in the minds of the author while his returning journey. And at last, what does it suggest? It suggests that the author is hoping something. What is hoping? He also hopes that enlightened people will guide the growth of Mauritius with same simplicity and marvel. Means he's hoping there are knowledgeable people who will guide the growth, who will take after the growth of Mauritius in a simple manner and a marvelous manner, so that it does not destroys the beauty and the nature of the Mauritius. This means he has a he has a great concern towards Mauritius and its beauty and its nature. This is what it suggests through this answer of his arriving and departing experiences. So students, here we come to an end with the question and answer session of second and third main of your Mauritius chapter. I hope I made it clear to you all, you understood it, and you liked the video. So thank you for watching my video. If you liked it, do hit the like button and keep sharing. We'll be back soon with more such videos. Thank you.